everyone, Leanne here from Kingdom Bloggers. So, one question that I get asked quite often is how do I balance building my blog or YouTube ministry with everything else I have going on with my family? I'm a mom, I homeschool, or I have a job outside the home. Like, I can't get, I don't seem to be making any progress because there's just so much to do in building the ministry that if I do all that, I won't have time for my family. So, how do you balance the two? So, this is very common. And if you're struggling with this right now, don't worry, you're not alone. I'm going to give you some tips to help you kind of better organize what you were doing to help you balance the time with your family with building your ministry in a way that does not overwhelm you. And also, one thing I hear a lot is I'm just so overwhelmed. There's just so much. Like, it's just not fun. Well, this should be enjoyable. It should not be like when God puts a calling on your life, yes, there's going to be some growing pains. But doing this, sharing the gospel in the online space, you should wake up every day excited to do it. But if you're waking up like, just, you're doing it wrong. Okay. So we'll just start there. So I'm going to lay out 10 different things, tips for you to keep in mind. Um, and again, this is regardless of where you are. If you have no life like me, I'm 51, my kids are grown, I'm not married. So I literally do this all day. Or maybe you have a newborn, or maybe you have a newborn plus some other littles. Maybe you homeschool, or maybe you work outside the home. Whatever it is, online digital discipleship ministry, whatever you want to call it, is possible, but you have to have a strategy for it. So, number one, you have to figure out, based on all the things that you have going on in your life, how much time each week or each day do you have to realistically sit down uninterrupted or partially interrupted to actually work on your blog? Like, you shouldn't even begin to get started if you don't have a definitive amount of time. Like, I know that, if you have a newborn, the baby typically takes a nap between this time and this time, or the baby wakes up at this time. So if I got up an hour early, I got to pick the kids up from school at 3, or I work 9 to 5. So it's going to have to be like after I put the kids to bed and maybe for an hour. Whatever it is for you, you have to figure that out and then set a schedule based on that time. Number two, you have to focus on your journey. It is so easy when you first come into this, or maybe you've been at it for a while with no real strategy, to compare your journey or lack of to all the other bloggers out there, especially if you're in blogging groups and everyone's sharing their wins and, you want to be excited for them, but you also are like, I wish I could do that. Well, you can, but just like with everything in life, we understand that each one of us is on a unique journey. Blogging is no different. You cannot compare your progress rate to the blogger sitting next to you because each one of us has different time availabilities. Like, definitely don't compare yourself to me and all the things I'm doing because, like I said, I literally do this full time. I wake up at 5 and I have nothing else to do but this. I don't have small children. I don't have an outside the home job. I don't have a husband to deal with. I don't have any of that. So you have to, again, it comes back to your journey is based on the time availability that you have. And so everything that you're going to do has to stem from that. And if you start at that place, the rest of it's kind of going to fall in line a little easier. Okay. Number 3, once you've determined your time availability, and the schedule for when you're going to actually do blog related work. And just FYI, when I say blog or ministry, I'm just referring to all of it. So whether you're actually creating a WordPress, an actual blog, or you're building a YouTube channel, or you're just trying to build a social media print, whatever it is, I just call it the blog. You have to set realistic goals that are based on the time availability. Now, I'm not going to dive into SMART goals. You can go look that up if you don't know what those are. You can set goals all day. I want to do this, I want to do that, and whatever, but are they realistic? Are they realistic based on the amount of time that you legitimately have to work towards them? Like, it's great to set high expectations for yourself, but set realistically high expectations. If you really only have 1 hour a day, Monday through Friday, so 5 hours a week to work on something, your goals should reflect or should be feasible within that amount of time. And again, remember, and I probably should have said at the beginning, in the comparison thing, you don't have to do all the things. I know in blogging, it's like, you got to start the blog, you got the email, you got to do the social media, you got to do all the things. And that is simply a lie. I actually have a video series pinned to the top of my Facebook feed, but it's also here in my YouTube that sort of dispels those myths. You should do them in building blocks. Anyone who said start with everything on day one is just, they're crazy. Okay. They're insane because that's just not possible. That's how we drive ourselves into overwhelm and all the things. Building blocks, foundation, add the next level, get that good, add the next level, website, then add the email or then add the social media. Wherever you are with it, one foundation at a time is all you need to be working on. And so if the reason you're overwhelmed right now is because you're trying to do all the things, stop. Figure out the thing that needs to be done most, which is going to be your foundational thing, whether it's a YouTube channel or maybe it's the actual blog, but don't add email and constant social media on top of that when you barely have time to do that. Just focus on the thing. So your goals have to be realistic based on your time constraint. Okay, next, create a content calendar. One of the things I see so much is people wake up on Monday morning, they're like, I wonder what I should write about today, or wonder what I should post on social media today, or I wonder what video I should create today. That's what we call chaos. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Your goals that you have should have a plan that leads to those goals. The plan is your content. So you don't just randomly throw stuff out there. It's like, what do I do today? Oh, this sounds good. No, whatever your goals are, create a content plan that leads to those goals that are based on the amount of time that you have to commit towards working on them. Okay. So see how each one's kind of building on the other. Your content plan isn't that difficult. I actually have a whole series about creating a content plan. I actually have a blog planning workbook and all that stuff. Okay, so the next one is batch creation. Batch creation will be your best friend. Now, I know this doesn't work for everyone, but most people have told me that it works really well for them. So whatever time availabilities you have, maybe you only have an hour a day or whatever, then do certain tasks only on that day. So here's what that looks like. For me, although I do this full time, I do have commitments that I have outside the home. So on Wednesdays, I don't work. I actually serve at a food pantry pretty much all day. Well, not all day, but by the time I get home, I'm just like, I don't want to blog. Another day of the week, I don't work in the morning because I go to a women's Bible study. And so, I have certain things. And then I don't work on the weekends because, well, not necessarily the weekends, but my kids are adults. They live at home. And so when they're off work, I want to make the most of that time. So again, I have this full time, but I still have things I want to do, like the self-care part of things. And so I block everything that I do. And also because, life happens. Like I had a medical procedure a few weeks ago and I had a bad reaction to it. So I was down for a couple of days, but I had enough already in reserve from the batching that I wasn't as behind as I really thought I was. So for me, perfect example is Monday and Tuesday mornings are typically the days that I record videos. Now, I might actually record 5 videos in one morning. I don't necessarily edit them at that point, but my adult children live at home and they usually start coming downstairs to get ready for work around 1 o'clock. And then also I have dogs who don't like people walking on the sidewalk outside my window. And so I need to get as much done early in the morning before the traffic of the day gets started, because then they start barking. So every Monday morning, that is my to-do list, is to knock out, some blogging tips videos, some videos for my faith channel, and so forth. And then in the afternoon is when I go back and edit those. And then blog content, I usually work on that on Tuesdays. I don't usually work on Wednesdays. Thursday afternoon is set for another kind of thing. And then Sundays, even though I don't really work on Sundays after church, I mean, I'm just home, I'm by myself. And so once I get done doing whatever house chores and things like that, I'll actually sit down and do my emails for the whole week. Sometimes, if I have the content already finished, I will create the emails for the entire month because the content's already created. I just need to send it out. So, batching your content can be very, very helpful for you. So, you're not always feeling rushed to get it done. So, if the first week of the month you record 4 videos and you publish 1 video a week, you just get them all done, go back and edit them and then schedule them out, and then you're done, right? You're not like every week having to sit down and find that time. So, whatever that is for you, batch content is a really great way to get more done in a kind of a little amount of time. The next thing is automation and scheduling. Like I said, with my emails specifically, if you're in that phase, I try to get my email schedule out at least a couple of weeks ahead. So whatever day, usually Sunday afternoons is when I write all my emails. I actually repurpose the form and then just change out the main information, change out the links. And I will try to get 2 or 3 weeks ahead done. And I mean, it literally takes me like 30 minutes. 30 minutes, again, I've already got all the content finished and it's published. But the emails to send out to that content to go out over the next few weeks, I just get that all done on one Sunday afternoon and then I'm finished. Because my big thing was I would always forget to wake up early to send the email. Get them all done. Just do it. With your blog, again, if you batch content creation, you get 4 videos made in one morning, or if you're really good with blog content, get them all done that week and then schedule them to publish out for the rest of the month. So every Monday morning, a new one publishes. Like batching and automation work kind of hand in hand to help you save time. The next one is kind of off script a little bit. It's not so much about the content itself, but you have to prioritize your faith and your family. This was one that it took me a long time to get. I was like, I would make microwave dinners or whatever just so I could get a little extra work done. Or, when I was married, I would still work after my husband would come home and he'd be watching TV and I'd be in here. And so, kind of caused a disconnect. Make time for family. Do not avoid, like you wake up late and you do morning Bible study, but you wake up late, don't disregard the Bible time because you got to do some stuff on the block. Prioritize that. And kind of when that, along with that, I want to say like self-care, but really it's not just prioritizing the time, it's making the time. So what I mean by that, like I said, this couple of weeks ago, I was down hard for 3 or 4 days because of the reaction I had to the procedure. And so I got a little behind. I mean, not so much because I was a little ahead. But then right after that, my dog got sick. I had to take him to the ER, take her to the ER. I mean, it was just a week, y'all. So me and my kids, my adult children, had a trip planned to go tubing that Friday. And honestly, I just wasn't feeling it. I'm like, I'm so tired. I'm behind with some blogging stuff. Actually, I wasn't behind, but I was behind on getting ahead, if that makes sense. I love to be ahead. I'm from the military, on time is late, right? And so 10 minutes, 50 minutes early is on time. Like that just sticks in my head. So even what I do now, on time is ahead for me. So when I'm not ahead, I feel like I'm behind. So anyway, side story. And we were supposed to have some bad weather. And I was like, oh, I really hope it rains. So, I could tell the kids, no, we're not going. And we haven't really done much together because while they do live with me, they are 20 and 27. They have their own lives. They have their own jobs and we never sync up. So we don't really do a lot of family stuff together. But secretly, I was like, I just want to stay home. But then it looked like it was going to be clear. And so then I was like, well, maybe I can make another excuse is not to go. And I was like, you know what? No, what am I doing? And so even though I had work to be done and I felt like I just want to stay home and rest, we went on that tubing. It was a 2.5 hour drive to get there and then 3.5 hours floating down a river. And y'all, I came back so refreshed. And when I did come back the following, week, I got so much more accomplished because I took that time off. So, prioritizing family and faith, but also prioritizing your own rest, self-care is very, very important as well. Being stressed out, your mental health, your spiritual health is not worth losing over getting a blog post out. I'll just kind of put it that way. And I've seen people do it, and that's why I say that. Okay, the next one is, and this may or may not work for some of you, but involve your family when possible. And this could look different ways. If you're a Christian mom blogger, and I know a lot of us have, you don't want your children's faces on the videos and, pictures. I totally get that. But there's ways around it. You can blur their face out or get them from behind, whatever. But if you're, a mom blogger, the best way to minister to other moms is showing them real life for you, right? Like what it's like. My friend Rachel, that's what her ministry is. And she just had a baby. So she's got the baby here and she's out feeding the pigs. And the baby's strapped on her and she's got the boys. And I mean, she just makes it a whole thing. That literally has become her content. And so instead of trying to separate the two, she's like, this is my life. So this is also going to be my ministry. Now, for you, it could look totally different. Obviously, if you have a baby, the baby can't really contribute much. But if you have middle or high schoolers who, know how to use computers and all that, they could help you with things like the graphics. That could be like how they can earn extra allowance or things like that. So don't be afraid. And it also teaches them skills that they might can use later on or get them interested in this online stuff. So don't be afraid to involve them at the appropriate age for the appropriate type of tasks and activities. And finally, give yourself grace. Grace over perfection. We all know perfection's a lie. Perfection is like it's not a thing, okay? You don't need to strive for perfection. You want to strive for consistency, and most importantly, you want to strive for authenticity. Y'all, there are some videos, if you go back and look at my stuff, especially when I had chickens. So I don't have my chickens anymore. But I would come in from dealing with the chickens and it's hot and humid. I live in South Texas and I got like, garden stuff in my hair and like, who knows what? I don't know if it's chicken poop or dirt. Like, I don't know. But did I go take time to take a shower? No, I came right here and I made my videos because that was the block of time for videos. And people relate because like I'm a hot mess sometimes. And so, if you're making a video and dogs start barking, the FedEx knocks on your door, whatever, just roll with it. A lot of times what blocks you or delays you and causes the stress and overwhelm is your OCD, your need for perfection before you can put it out there. And I'm going to throw this back on you. When you delay like publishing your content, when you delay doing what God's called you to do, like you're going along, you're doing things, but you stop it, right? And the reason you stop is because you're like, I don't like how that looks. This is not good enough. It needs to be better. It needs to be whatever. Girl, that is the enemy trying to stop you. God does not want perfection. He wants you to do it. And the reality is that when you do it all hot mess and looking crazy without any ounce of perfection, you will often get much more of a response from your audience. Like I have seen this time and time again. The videos that I'm like, this thing's perfect, they didn't get nothing. But the videos where I was like, oh, I totally should have done that, those got the most views and most engagement for my audience. So whether it's video, whether it's your blog, whatever it is, don't wait until it's perfect and don't keep putting it off. Just publish it. Give yourself grace. And also, if you get behind, give yourself grace for that too. The future of your ministry is not dependent upon anything that you do, right? Like you mess this up or whatever. The future of your ministry and what God has called you here for, the impact of what you're doing, it's in God's hands, not yours. You just need to be obedient. But more importantly, you need to be intentional with your time. And time is the thing that most often causes the overwhelm that keeps Christian women from actually moving forward in a fruitful way, because it's just like you got this pile of laundry that has taken over your living room and you don't know like how to even start winding it down. Like I know you've all been there. I've been there. Or that that junk room that you just keep throwing stuff in. And you're like, one day I'll clean it out. One day I'll clean it out. And then you're like, I don't even know where to start. Don't let it become that. Get everything in order. And it all comes back to that first thing I mentioned. To balance your ministry with your family, you have to know the amount of time you can effectively use or put towards working on the blogging task, and then create a plan based on that amount of time. If you don't do that, you're going to be spinning your wheels forever. And I just don't want you to do that, because doing this is so much fun and it's so rewarding. And it'll build up your confidence and just all the things. So if you are struggling in any one area, let me know. Drop a comment or hop over to my Facebook group. Whatever struggle that you're having with balancing the two, let's talk about it. Let's see if I can give you some additional tips or insight to help you start overcoming that and start really stepping into what God has called you to do here. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining me today. Be sure to like this video, share it with someone who might also need some encouragement, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.